The storm raged across the barren world of Krasha 4, its icy winds cutting through the night like knives. The human expedition had been warned of the planet's seasonal storms, but no briefing could prepare anyone for the sheer brutality of the cold. Lieutenant Daniel Carrick sat inside his reinforced field tent, wrapped in 2 layers of thermal blankets, listening to the howl of the storm. He was a soldier-turned-explorer, part of the Terran Coalition's effort to map habitable worlds and establish treaties with their native species. Tonight, however, diplomacy was the last thing on his mind. The temperature outside had dropped below survivable levels for most known species. Even with advanced insulation, frost had begun to form at the edges of the tent. Then came the sound, soft, hesitant scratching against the fabric of his shelter. Daniel tensed. On Krasha, that could mean predators. He gripped his sidearm and crept to the entrance. When he unsealed the flap, the last thing he expected was her. A slender alien figure stumbled in, nearly collapsing from the cold. Her skin was a deep, luminescent blue, glowing faintly in the dim light. Her silver-white hair clung to her face in wet strands, and her large, slanted eyes reflected the lantern's glow like liquid metal. "Askiri," she breathed, clutching at her chest. Daniel had studied a few words of her language. Askiri meant please. He quickly pulled her inside and resealed the tent against the storm. She shivered violently, her body trembling as if every breath might be her last. "You'll freeze out there," Daniel muttered, guiding her toward his cot. She looked fragile, almost breakable, but when he tried to help her lie down, she pushed herself upright with stubborn dignity. She spoke again, haltingly, her accent heavy but recognizable in broken Terran standard. "Cold death need warmth." Daniel understood. She wasn't here for conversation or diplomacy. She was here to survive. "All right," he said gently, sliding his own blanket off and wrapping it around her. "You'll be safe here." For the first hour, that was all it was. 2 beings from different worlds, huddled close in the fragile warmth of a storm-battered tent. He gave her water, tried to coax her into eating a ration bar, and did his best not to stare at her too long. Her eyes, luminous and unblinking, had a way of making him feel as though she was reading far deeper into him than he wanted. But the longer she stayed, the more Daniel realized there was something else, something she wasn't saying. Middle. The storm outside lasted through the night, unrelenting. Daniel had started drifting in and out of uneasy sleep when he felt a shift. The alien girl had moved closer, much closer. Her head rested lightly on his chest, her body pressed against his in search of heat. He stiffened at first, then forced himself to relax. She just needs warmth, he reminded himself. But her heartbeat was fast. Too fast. "You're not just cold, are you?" Daniel asked softly. Her eyes opened, glowing faintly in the dark. She studied him for a long moment, as if weighing something. Then she spoke in a whisper. "You, different from others." Daniel frowned. "Others? You mean humans?" She shook her head. "No, my people. Clan." Her hand trembled slightly as she pressed it to her chest. "Exiled." That explained why she was alone in the storm. On Krasha, clans meant survival. To be exiled was a death sentence. "Why?" he asked carefully. Her lips tightened. "I refuse bond. They demand, mate chosen for me. Say no." "So, alone." Daniel felt a pang of sympathy. Her people's traditions, though alien, reminded him of arranged marriages on old Earth. She had chosen freedom, and the price had been exile. "So you wandered into this storm?" he asked. She nodded. "Better die free than live chained." Her eyes glistened, and her voice dropped lower. But then, I saw you. Daniel blinked. Me. You fought storm. Lone. Strong. No fear in eyes. Her fingers brushed against his arm, almost reverently. I thought maybe fate. He stared at her, caught between disbelief and something deeper stirring inside him. He had saved her life, at least for tonight. But to her it seemed more than that. You thought I'd give you warmth, Daniel murmured, realizing aloud. But you were looking for more. Her silence was answer enough. The storm breaks. By morning the winds had weakened. Daniel stepped outside briefly, scanning the icy landscape. The world was white, crystalline, deadly. He doubted she would last an hour without shelter. When he returned inside, she was awake, sitting cross-legged on the cot, watching him with unreadable eyes. You go, she asked. Scouting, he replied. Checking if the weather's clearing. She hesitated before speaking again. If you go, I follow. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. That's not a good idea. You're weak from the cold. You should rest. Her jaw tightened. If I stay, I lose you. If I lose you, no hope. Something in her voice struck him. Fear, yes, but also something raw and earnest. She wasn't just clinging to him out of desperation. She had chosen him in her own way, and now believed he was her only path forward. He sat down across from her. You don't even know me. I'm just a soldier with too many scars and not enough sense to quit. She tilted her head, her expression softening. Scars show you live. Sense, who needs? For the first time, her lips curved into a faint smile. Daniel let out a short laugh despite himself. The storm outside had quieted, but inside the tent, something far more complex had begun to take shape. Middle escalation. They traveled together when the weather allowed. Daniel taught her some Terran words. She taught him fragments of her tongue. Her name, he learned, was Sira. Sira was unlike anyone he had met. Curious, unflinchingly honest, and stubborn to a fault. She had questions about everything. Why humans fought wars, why they carried pictures of family, why Daniel stared at the stars with such quiet longing. You look, she said one night, like stars are calling your name. Maybe they are, he admitted. I've been a soldier all my life. Fighting, moving, surviving. Sometimes I wonder if there's something more. Sira studied him in silence for a long time before whispering. Maybe. I am more. The words hung between them, delicate and dangerous. That was when Daniel realized. He had thought she only wanted warmth in the storm, a fleeting comfort to outlast the night. But she wanted something else, something lasting. Bond. A choice freely made, not forced upon her by her clan. And he, despite every warning bell in his mind, was starting to want it too. Climax. Their fragile partnership was tested sooner than expected. While scouting near a frozen ridge, they were ambushed by a hunting party, her clan. Sira froze when she saw them, her body rigid with fear. The leader, a towering Crassian male with obsidian skin and a jagged crest along his head, sneered. Exile, he spat in their tongue. You still live. Sira stepped back, but Daniel moved in front of her. She's with me, he said firmly. The alien leader laughed, baring sharp teeth. Human claims exile. Foolish. He raised his spear. She is ours by law. By blood. Daniel leveled his rifle. Not anymore. The standoff was tense, a clash of tradition and choice. The Crassians outnumbered them, but Daniel stood his ground. Sira's hand slipped into his, not for warmth this time but solidarity.